Hello and welcome to Mangator 96, and today we're going to talk about One Piece. Today's topic will be the most beautiful pirate in One Piece, who is also the biggest narcissist in the series and has a split personality. I'm of course talking about Cabbage, also known as Cavendish. This video will be in the same style like my Straw Hat discussion videos were, where I will go over Cavendish's personality, his role in the story and his combat abilities. But before we start, here's a brief overview on who Cavendish is. Cavendish of the White Horse, also known as the Pirate Prince, is a famous super rookie and the captain of the beautiful pirates. He joined as a gladiator at the Corrida Colosseum to compete for the Mera Mera no Mi. After the final battle against Don Quixote do Flamingo, Cavendish decided to pledge his loyalty to Luffy and become the captain of the first ship of the Straw Hat Grand Fleet. He was formerly the prince of the Bourgeois kingdom before he was exiled. He also suffers from a split personality, changing into a bloodthirsty lunatic known as Hakuba, and his dominant personality sleeps. While initially antagonistic, he later became an ally of Luffy during the Dressrosa arc and one of the central characters from the stories of the self-proclaimed Straw Hat Grand Fleet cover page serial. Because of his good looks, Cavendish is extremely haughty, prideful, arrogant, boastful and vain, and loves attracting attention. Because of this, he harbors a deep-seated resentment towards the worst generation for stealing the spotlight from him 2 years ago. He even stabs their wanted posters to vent his anger. He is also shown to get deeply annoyed when the person he is talking to ignores him. Due to his petty jealousy, he is even willing to kill those he is jealous of with his own hands and will not let anyone get in his way, as shown when he tried to fend off Jin Chao, a former pirate who also wanted to kill his intended target at the time. Cavendish is also prepared to kill anyone who plans to take his prey away from him, such as Bartolomeo. Despite his extreme narcissism and pettiness, he has an animal-loving nature, in particular towards his horse and steed Farul. He became enraged when his animal companion and dearest friend was badly wounded, and he immediately sought revenge on the Don Quixote pirates, showing that he has a deep emotional attachment to his animal friend and companion. Due to his royal heritage as a prince, Cavendish is highly sophisticated, with a great penchant for fanciness, as his makeshift meal after the B-block was a posh-looking dinner on a tablecloth with wine and fancy main course, all of which was served by a waiter. He seems to be quite sociable, as he tried to have a conversation with Lucy. Despite him being a total stranger, he can be very polite and civil even to people with bad reputation, as he congratulated Bartolomeo for his win despite his bad image. He has once been seen eating a rose he was carrying around due to the rose being his favorite food. He loathes others who have gained popularity, specifically those who take attention away from him, but will become immensely happy when he manages to recapture the spotlight, as shown during his speech to the spectators at the Colosseum defending Rebecca, where he seems unable to turn down a request from a fan. This is shown when he accepts Luffy's request to get the others off of the King's Plateau after mistakenly believing that the Straw Hat is his fan. While he deeply loathes those who gained immense popularity, he shows sympathy for those who are extremely unpopular, as shown when he stood up for Rebecca when the audience booed and jeered at her. He is somewhat honorable, as he stated to the audience that a warrior's life is not something one should put up for show, and those who are not willing to risk their lives have no right to scorn. After seeing Usopp confronting Sugar and Treble, Cavendish begged him to succeed while promising he won't go after Luffy anymore. After being freed from Sugar's curse, Cavendish kept his word as he chased his grudge against Luffy. This also extends to Zoro and Law. Later on, his love for honor returned when he refused to leave Law alone after he was defeated by Doflamingo, stating that if Law is determined to die if Luffy is defeated, it will only be after Cavendish dies protecting him. During Doflamingo's birdcage, Cavendish displays being level-headed and is quite perceptive. He knew that Doflamingo was never planning on sparing Dressrosa after his exposure, even if the people complied with the tyrant's demand. When he was in the underground trade port, Cavendish deduced that if Doflamingo is defeated, Luffy and Law will be at the center of the wrath of the people Doflamingo made deals with. True to his word, and he and his allies were fleeing Dressrosa, an army of ships came to the island to exact their revenge on those two. Cavendish possesses an inner personality known as Hakuba, which appears only when Cavendish falls asleep. Hakuba is both cruel and merciless, and attacks the people around him with incredible speed while wearing a demonic grin on his face, disappearing only once everyone has been defeated. Cavendish is aware of Hakuba's existence and by sheer willpower is able to suppress him to a certain degree when he does not wish him to be present. However, the two tend to argue over the control of their body, where in one case was when Cavendish was upset with how Hakuba chose to attack Robin. Despite his faults, Cavendish is shown to be very righteous and upright as he defends Rebecca from the audience's vicious insults despite being complete strangers, leading Luffy to be impressed by him despite their initial enmity. He later showed disdain on how Sugar turns her own soldiers into toys. He also strongly criticized his alter ego Hakuba's murderous and bloodthirsty nature and is willing to physically hurt himself to restrain his alter ego. He can be generous as he also gave his coat to Robin after she was injured by diamante spiked iron balls to stop the bleeding. Originally, Cavendish was the prince of his country before he was exiled for his immense popularity among the women of the kingdom. After his banishment, he was joined by his faithful servants who would go on to become his crew. Because Luffy is one of the pirates from the worst generation, Cavendish at first despised him and wanted him dead. During the first meeting, Cavendish was friendly and sociable to him since Luffy was under the guise of Lucy. Cavendish spoke openly with him until Chinchou revealed his identity. Right after that, he became hell-bent on killing Luffy himself and was enraged by the popularity Luffy gained during his group's battle royale and was utterly disgusted by the cheers Luffy received after his victory in the first round. He outright attempted to kill Luffy after he left the arena, but his attempt ended in failure as Luffy escaped his grasp. After he was transformed into a toy and enslaved by the Don Quixote pirates, Cavendish silently promised Usopp that he was able to return him to being a human, then he would let go of his grudge against Luffy. After returning to human form, Cavendish kept true to his word and showed no ill will to Luffy or Zoro. This also extended to Law, who is another pirate from the worst generation, where Cavendish ceased attacking Law due to how Luffy claimed how Law was his friend, despite Law's vehement denial. While fighting Doflamingo, it was shown that Luffy has grown to respect Cavendish, as he told the latter he was entrusting his friend's well-being into his hands, which made Cavendish believe Luffy was his fan and caused him to accept the request. After Doflamingo's defeat, Cavendish still believes Luffy to be a fan, but respects him to the point that he pledged his loyalty to him and became a representative of the Straw Hat Grand Fleet. The fact that he has a 330 million berry bounty indicates that he is quite powerful despite not having eaten a Del fruit. 3 years ago, he was an infamous and feared pirate known to the world before being upstaged by the supernova from the worst generation. With his beautiful appearance, he is able to make women faint from looking at him. Cavendish owns a white stallion called Farul and possesses excellent horsemanship skills, being able to skillfully ride Farul on the highly complex terrain of the New King Plateau while carrying Law, Luffy and Kiros. He is also a very charismatic person who is able to sway the crowd in his favor. He possesses a fair amount of superhuman power, as he was seen able to hold Chinchou's massive build in the air after Chinchou stopped his beacon blue bird with his headbutt. The fact that he was not shaken by the force of the headbutt and did this with only one arm demonstrated the incredible high degree of his physical strength. The force he applies in his swordsmanship is powerful enough to create a compressed air slash that can slash through large amounts of stone, as shown when he cut through a part of the New King Plateau to create a path. He also has some skills in acrobatics, being able to dodge a double punch attack directed at him from Chinchou while he was in the air, as well as barrage of headbutts aimed at him and Luffy showing considerable speed and reflexes. Cavendish has an extremely high level of skill in swordsmanship, acknowledged by Vice Admiral Bastille as the prodigious genius of the sword. Specializing in strong blade swordsmanship, Cavendish can create extremely powerful compressed air slashes that can cleanly slice large amounts of stone and also swiftly decapitate a giant metal doll. Cavendish could use his sword to deflect several string bullets from Doflamingo aimed at Robin and an injured Law. When taken over by his alter ego, Cavendish's prowess as a swordsman significantly increases. Switching to gentle blade swordsmanship, it makes full use of Hakuba's tremendous speed, able to strike down the remaining 20 fighters of Block D instantaneously. He also cut down Dellinger, who is noted by the dwarves to be one of the best fighters of the Corrida Colosseum in a single slash. Cavendish has an unusual condition, a combination of narcolepsy, sleepwalking, and an identity disorder. His inner personality, Hakuba, awakens when Cavendish falls asleep and grants him tremendous speed to the point that he moves too fast for the eyes to track, even with Haki, he can barely be seen. Due to this, back in the Rommel Kingdom, everyone believed it was the wind that was slashing people. As such, the phenomenon became known as the Kamataichi of Rommel. An even greater example of Hakuba's speed is that he instantly defeated Dellinger, an executor of the Don Quixote pirates, without even being seen, who himself is renowned for defeating opponents with his speed. As a fighting style, it is not ideal for match-style fights like the competition in the Corrida Colosseum. Though he defeated the 20 strongest fighters in Block D instantaneously, in the end it led to Rebecca's victory, as she was the only one who managed to see and barely evade his attack, as he promptly fell asleep afterward. It is also not ideal for fighting alongside comrades, as Hakuba will attack both enemies and allies alike. Cavendish has been shown to be able to suppress Hakuba to a degree where he can access his extremely incredible speed without losing control, but only for a very short duration, and he will still fall asleep afterwards. With this, I covered everything that I wanted to cover about Cavendish in this video. And that will be all for this video. If you like this video, leave a like, leave your thoughts in the comments below, or subscribe to the channel for more One Piece content as well as other manga content, and until next time, take care.